should we teach is a question that you should be asking as schools. What should we teach? And the people who can tell you what to teach is probably the industry. So we have done interviews, and I'm going to share that. The next question you should ask is, how should we teach? How should we teach? And the teaching formats have changed completely from the past. And lastly, of course, how do you make it real? And here we want to kind of give examples of work that we've done with GIMI and universities for you to be able to look at it and say, hey, maybe those are some things we can do, we can borrow, or we can also collaborate. Our objective today is to say we are here as your partners to be able to create student job ready individuals of the future now using techniques for teaching in the best way possible. So what should we teach, right? So what we did was we asked industry what is it that students need, and so we talked to the big companies like Google, Amazon, Microsoft, research that was done around it. We also looked at academia and see what the deans and the chancellors of this important universities were saying was critical in the future, as they also observe from the students what needs to be done. And then we also look at Latin America and to see what is it that the schools are asking for, whether it's UIS in Colombia, or whether it's CESA or Monterrey Tech, or even university in Peru. So let's look at what what the business leaders are saying in the industry. And we looked at the most important companies, and especially with recent outcome of what has come from ChatGPT and other things, these CEOs are completely shaken. They're worried about the jobs of the future. They're worried about the products of the future. They're worried about everything. So let's just take a couple of quotes from them and see what they are. Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Google, was basically saying every product in every company of the world will be impacted by the quick development of AI. We need to adapt as a society for this thing. So he's basically saying everything's going to change. So the world we lived in just 4 months ago is completely different, and that's his expectations. He's going to expect every one of your students to be able to use technology or use Chat GPT or use AI to enable what they have to do. Similarly, Amazon, our friend Jeff Bezos, he says we live in a world where technology and business models are constantly changing. And those who can't keep up will be left behind. I'm talking about people who look like me, people with gray hair, people a little older. They certainly are going to feel like dinosaurs very quickly, because the things they used to do, connect dots together, AI can do today. And that's going to completely change. So what are they going to do in the future? Because young people can use the same tools to be able to connect the dots. They may not have the wisdom to say whether it's good or bad, but over time, they will be able to do that also. And then Tesla essentially says, Elon Musk, the key to creating great products is creating a culture of innovation and creativity within the company. The emphasis over here is we're looking for people who are creative. We're looking for people who are innovative. We're looking for people who have initiative. We're looking for people who are not going to do the same thing they did yesterday, today, and do that tomorrow. Because that is the end of your job, but the end of the companies also. And Tesla certainly is a testament to what General Motors should be completely fearful of, that this is happening. Microsoft, basically, Satya says the world is changing faster than ever before. And the way we work and the skills we need are evolving just as quickly. To succeed in this new era, we need to rethink our approach, education, training, skills, and development. Many of the jobs that were out there posted 20 years ago are no longer ever going to be posted again. There are going to be new jobs being posted, new descriptions for these things. And so, are you a university, are you a college who's still teaching stuff that the market doesn't need anymore? How do you know what the jobs of the future are going to be? Because you have to prepare students 4 years in advance, and you need to be able to see the future 4 years from now. Do you know what the jobs of the future are when you yourself are probably surprised by AI and ChatGPT? And if you had not expected that, what do you expect to happen in the next couple of years? When we look at the university academics, and they are also worried about what's going on, and they're basically preparing their professors, the universities to get ready for this thing. They're asking, we need to prepare our students for a world that doesn't yet exist, to teach them to solve problems that we don't yet know are problems. This is at Harvard. Drew Faust was the chancellor. He's saying we have got to prepare students on this thing about we don't even know what it is. Probably how to think. Stanford, we don't teach technical skills anymore. Of course they do. But we teach critical thinking, problem solving, communication, and collaboration. These are the skills of the future, because that's what will be needed where people are adapting and changing and challenging and questioning and solving. At MIT, it's very simple. We prepare that the best way to prepare students for the challenge of the future is to offer them hands-on experiential learning opportunities. So give them hands-on projects, let them work on things, let them understand what the problems might be, and let them solve the problems that they observe. Let them learn by doing. No longer teach, but let them learn by themselves through experiential learning. At University of Michigan, where it's a different type of school, the future belongs to those who can think critically, collaborate effectively, and communicate clearly. How many times have you heard the word critically? Collaborative, communicative, initiatives. So when we look at our Latin American institutions, what do we see? In Latin America, what might be different? Like, hey, those are American universities and they feel different to me. What we did was we did a word search of the vision and mission of these universities. And we basically put it through a word cloud and said, what words pop up again and again in the global universities, the leaders? And what words pop up in the Latin American universities? And when you look carefully on it, both of them have got words of innovation. Both of them have got words about sustainability. But there's also additional words about inclusion and social justice. Social justice is clearly a big important issue also to include in the conversation, but even much more in Latin America, where the social gap between the wealthy and the poor is still very, very high. And there will be revolutions if you do not fix that. So what is our summary of this? Very simple. What should we teach? We ask all these people, and it comes down to the skills of the future. Basically, creativity and innovation, complex problem solving, critical thinking, collaboration and teamwork, and of course, important things that we need to do, right? So then we ask the question, how should we teach? And you guys need to get ready to teach this thing. The challenge with teaching is the following. You guys have been teaching almost in the same format as the universities that were established back in the 10th century. At the University of Bologna, for example. You sit students together in chairs, you stand in front of the podium and you go blah, 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 accounting, blah, 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 engineering, and you scribble on the whiteboard and the students actually scribble and copy those things. I'm sorry, that should have gone away with all the new technology that's been happening. But guess what? We're still teaching the same way. I was at MIT yesterday. This is what I saw. I was at Hult International Business School. That's what the classroom looks like. People are still teaching in the way of the old days, right? So then the question is, okay, then what is the class of the future made up of? What will the class of the future look like? How will you teach? And when we look through our example case studies in the book that we wrote for education, we see flipped classrooms are now the thing, team-based activities. We see the gamified is critical, where gamification, competitions are key, but inside in there, we also have simulation with virtual reality and other stuff going on. There's also working on problems, real problems, learning. Give people a problem, let them figure it out. Don't give them the answers. Don't give them anything. Just give a problem that they will work on and work on teams with mentors and coaches to be able to work side by side and learn from the wise people while at the same time work as a team but struggle through the process. Use technology. Many universities are banning ChatGPT and so you can't use it. And if you use it, it's called cheating. It's like a calculator. Calculator is no longer cheating. It's just another tool. And ChatGPT is just another tool. In Italy, they banned ChatGPT. What a shame. The whole country has basically turned off electricity. They turned off the air conditioning unit. That's what they really did when you turn off ChatGPT. Productivity will go down, data availability will decrease, and other countries will overtake them as their students learn how to use ChatGPT along with other things they have to do. And lastly, there's a thing called experiential learning, which is around this open pedagogy that's important. Okay, so flipped classroom is basically tables where people sit together facing each other. We saw that in kindergarten. We saw that in Montessori school a long time ago. We did not see that in the university for a long time. And here we go. Now our classrooms are literally so that the students are facing each other, learning from each other instead of staring at the professor, getting bored to death. Here they actually are told what to do at the very beginning for 5 minutes from the instructor. And then you learn by doing, show by telling, and visual artifacts. There's gamification going on with technology driven, you do competitions, but not only that, included in there is, of course, the, the thing that we can also simulate immersive experiences by doing things. Technology is coming, and you need to include that into what you're doing. Problem based learning, this is what we do a lot, where we tell students, here's a real problem with a real company. You guys have to work as teams and solve it. And the company is a real client, and the client has got a real problem. And now, for these students to solve it, they probably need some coaches, they need some methodology, and then they have to struggle, suffer, and commute. When we look at technology now with ChatGPT, it's okay to ask ChatGPT to help you find your research data. It's also perhaps okay for it to ask it, what's the outline I need to put together for my presentation? It's also okay maybe to use some of this AI stuff to even create visual slides and presentations. So what's left? Well, once you do all that stuff, do you have the wisdom to know whether you put the right inputs in, asking good questions? And do you have the wisdom to know whether the output is very good? Those are the 2 points which are the most important on where we're going with ChatGPT. But you need to teach your students that it's just a tool. And in that tool, you need to learn to ask good prompts or ask good questions. My kids, all through their life, every morning when I dropped them off at school, I never told them to listen to the teacher. I never asked them to do their homework. I never asked them to take notes attentively. I told them one thing every morning. I said, guys, I hope you have a good day. Make sure you ask good questions. Ask good questions. And then over time, have the wisdom to know whether the answer you got was a good answer. We also have this open pedagogy. People want to learn at their own speed, learn at their own pace. And open pedagogy has become quite important, and people are learning and creating their own schedule. It could be a semester at the ocean, it could be a semester by traveling across abroad. But all of this learning, as Marco Polo did, traveling and other things through experience, are much more memorable than the textbook that we expect our students to read and memorize. So let's think about some of the things that you could consider doing in here. Is how do we make it real, right? How do we make this thing all real? Well, to make it real, here's some things you need to embrace. You need to use more digitized content and online learning. And remember, what you want to teach them is innovation, problem solving, critical thinking, teamwork, communication. Okay? And if you're teaching those things, how do you do that with digitized online learning? Well, here's an example of a work that we're doing with Yonsei University in Korea, where they have basically taken all the content of innovation, put it on an online platform, made it into a certificate at the end, created a competition for students to work in teams, and those students compete with each other, working for a real client, and the output of that will then be a certificate that shows that they worked in a team, they were problem solving on a real issue, they were able to come up with good ideas and suggestions, and they were able to present it in a meaningful way. That's at Yonsei University in Korea, one of the best business schools of, of the world. You want students to do experiential learning. What does that mean? Learn by doing, learn by making mistakes, experimentation. And you provide students with hands-on, real-world experiences that help them develop practical skills and knowledge. We have this program called the Innovation Olympics. We're running that at the University of Miami. At the University of Miami, the students formed real teams of 5 people, and the students are taught about what is innovation. And then clients come in, and the students are then prompting clients for questions, and then they create outputs and they present every 2 weeks to the client. And the client gives them a thumbs up or a thumbs down. You create a competition out of it, 5 teams, and those 5 teams then basically get ranked first, second, and third. This program at the University of Miami is a hit and a success, and is one of the reasons why University of Miami is recruiting more students faster, because students are asking for the experience. And meanwhile, the university also builds relationship with companies saying our students are smart, and when they graduate, hire them. This program also is run in another way, independent around the world, where we invite teams from all over the world, university teams, and those teams also compete, and this is called the IXL Innovation Olympics. And here, different schools compete with each other, and the students, for whatever reason, prefer to work in these competitions as volunteers. No grade, yet they want to do this because they have bragging rights. If they compete with other universities, they can put on their resume that they beat Harvard, they beat Oxford, they beat the number one school in the country, whoever it is. And these schools all participate with enthusiasm and excitement in terms of trying to make that happen. The flipped classroom model can also be used effectively, but it's a challenge. Is how do you use flipped classrooms as more and more of this goes digital? How do we do flipped classrooms and how do we make them engage with each other and argue and debate? And for that, I want to give you an example of what we did in Sabrai, which is one of the biggest universities of Brazil in terms of professional education and exec ed education. They asked us to create leaders of tomorrow. And these leaders of tomorrow have to think and act like consultants, but think and act like also innovators and entrepreneurs. Again, critical thinking, innovation thinking, communication, teamwork, which was what they were supposed to do. In this program, 1,500 people participate in the thing all across the country at the same time, from Amazonia to Sao Paulo to Porto Alegre to Florianopolis. And how could you make them all work together? Well, the methods had basically, on one side, there was going to be certification at the end. So there was motivation for them to start and finish something. There was also inside here, the technology would provide business cards and it would provide results and outcomes of the work they were going to do so they could share with other people. It allowed them to create a poster. The technology allowed also for them to create a video blog, which we seamed together so that they could show it to other people, saying, here's what my dream is, here's what my vision is, here's my mission, here's how I'm going to get started, here are the projects we're going to pursue, and commitment letters and booklets. 2,000 people worked across the globe. And then you ask, how did they get a flipped classroom out of this thing? Create a virtual small tables of 5 to 8 people, and the requirement was they had to teach each other what to do. They had to show the results of their work. They had to give feedback to each other. And if they didn't give feedback, all 5 to 8 of them would not be allowed to progress forward into the next cycle of learning. They had to do this. And so there was disciplining processes to do this. There was competition and awards, but ultimately artifacts that they would be proud of sharing with everybody else. In AI, what we are seeing is this disruption, and we were surprised just as much as you were as to how powerful AI is. And so we immediately put AI into these things, and we said, how do we apply these things into our platforms? And we have now integrated all the tools that are the most effective ones. And in our classroom, in our courses, we are telling the students, here's ChatGPT, and here's how you use it. Here's Beautify.ai, and here's how you make presentations. Here's Synthesis.io, and create an AI video of what you are trying to present. And then we also look at how to look at other things inside these things. Ultimately, this is the approach. The jobs of the future are changing rapidly. The courses that you're teaching are probably the wrong ones. The students need to be ready and learning. The students of today want to learn in a new and different way. They can't be taught in the same way. You have to change the way you teach students. In order to teach them differently, and in order for them to be ready for the future, it comes down to this. GIMI has got consulting to help you with your strategies. GIMI has got courses to help you teach the right classes to your students around innovation, entrepreneurship, and all that. It's got programs that will allow people to work in teams and compete with each other and work on real lifetime projects and everything else. And it's got certificates which students are proud of to put on their resume. So the question is to you guys, join us as hundreds of other universities are beginning to partner with us on recognizing innovation is the future. People are looking for innovative and creative individuals, and join us on this journey on making and preparing students of the future today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, HP. Tremendous presentation. Uh, I agree with you. You know, the world is changing very quickly. And now we need to introduce new ways in how we can teach, not only people from the school, but at the university, at the business school levels. Uh, we have Lucia Curio, who is here in Peru, I believe, creating the agenda also for education at the highest level. I don't know if Lucia, you would like to add something about that, please.
Well, I would like to take this opportunity, HB, to really share with you that we are organizing, we are preparing a big event which is called in Peru CADE, but the chapter of education. And the topic that we are going to address this year is innovation in education. Okay, this event, the CADE, this event is has been running for more than 60 years, but it's more for entrepreneurs and every type of business, corporate people that are putting together and inviting also governments and so to discuss about what is going on in the country and how we can work for a more sustainable and development and so on, so on. So, but in this case, about around 10 years ago, they started with this CADE Educación, so the chapter of education to discuss about the future of education in Peru. And each year they have a different topic, the key topic that is going to be discussed around this event. This is in August, and it's CADE Educación from the 24th to the 27th of August. And I am the president of the commission that is in charge of organizing this event this year. Why? Because they know I'm in innovation, technology innovation more, but innovation in general in education. So that's why they asked me to accept to be the president of the commission to organize this event. And the news are here that I shared with Enrique. But, well, we have to invite you, HP, to be the keynote speaker that starts with this event this year. It's going to have one day that is going to be on live sessions, but the two first days are going to be just virtual. And the first session, what we pretend to have in the first session is someone, and I cannot think in someone else better than you, of course, HP, to to explain the concept, because everybody, what I've been hearing you since the first lesson, I had the opportunity through Enrique to be part of this, about how we really have to work with one definition, and all the ecosystem and all the actors, all the stakeholders of any type of ecosystem have to work with this concept. Okay, of course, this is innovation in education. So the speech, of course, has to be at the end. But the first thing is to really put all together to really understand that we have to work and to move with one concept, one common concept for everybody, for all the ecosystem. If we are thinking about a national strategy of innovation for education, or strategy of innovation for the private education and for the public education and for higher education instead of basic education or primary or secondary education, and so on, so on, so okay. So that's what I want to take this opportunity to invite you. Please say yes.
I would
And
love to. And Maria Lucia, I would love to be there, and I would really enjoy it, because I think if we can make an impact on education, I think we make an impact on the next 7 generations after us. It's so critical that we take to address this earlier and sooner, and it's important. So I would really enjoy coming, and I would really enjoy working with you to try and make the change, and to make the impact.
great. Thank you. Thank you so much. Let me just share with you that after your speech, we will have the top of IADB lab, bit lab. Well, we are going to invite her, Irene Arias, and of the IADB, and then we're going to have the person in charge of the innovation projects in the World Bank, and the innovation projects in the CAF, which is this organism, also a multilateral organization that is similar to IADB, but it's only for Latin America, let's say. Okay, so very happy, and they are
No, no,
going.
no, no. That sounds like a great roster of speakers.
Yeah, they are going to present how is the innovation in education going in Latin America. Each of them are going to present data to, for of course, try to start thinking about all what we can do as a region, but of course in each of our countries. And now, of course, more oriented to what in Peru we have to do. And we can compare also with Colombia, that is doing much more work since more years ago, and so on, and compare with another scenarios where you have things to show about innovation in education. Okay, thank you.
Of course. Right.
Thank you so much, Hitendra, Lucia, Alba, and everybody in this room. And I will finish actually this presentation with a video that I hope everybody enjoy about GIMI. So let's watch it.
In a world that's always changing, where everything is faster, more automated, more connected, more competitive, you must go further. Are you ready? Being ready is knowing that the world's total knowledge doubles every 12 months. You must go further.
To predict the future, understand where the world is heading, see the trends that are going to transform your value chain and impact either very positively or very negatively your current business. But it's not just enough to see the trends and see where the world is heading. You also need to be able to prioritize and pick which trends you're going to go after, which business concepts you're going to actually implement. It's a very challenging thing to do, to pick which part of the future you're going to focus on as you move forward, which parts of your business you're going to adapt.
To be ready is to be one step ahead. Knowing that your skills, knowledge, and best practices will give you an edge.
You really have to be very user-centric in the skills you develop for the market. The market nowadays is asking for different skills in leadership, innovation, the knowledge base that the students have, and you have to be very responsive to what they are asking for.
Being ready is understanding and working on innovation day by day. Are you ready?
Once I was already working in the organization, these were the type of tools and skills that helped us solve several different bottlenecks that we were having and really be able to collaborate as a team and be able to develop the concepts that would help us reach our potential and the objectives we were aiming towards.
Global Innovation Management Institute trainings and certifications strengthen your critical thinking, expand your knowledge, and provide the tools to capture value from innovation.
Being certified in innovation helps them have a better language set to share the ideas. It also gives them better skill sets and tools and frameworks for managing those ideas more effectively. And it also helps them sell the ideas more effectively.
The Global Innovation Management Institute is the global standard certification board for innovation and innovation management.
Nowadays, there's so many jobs in technology that we're not sure what's going to be coming up in the near future or even less in the long-term future. So I think as students, we really have to prepare ourselves to be adaptable for the new marketplace and labor market, and kind of be able to gain those skills that are going to allow us to work in any type of industry and any type of sector.
In a world where professionals are increasingly more connected, more cross-cultural, and where traditional jobs are rapidly being displaced, how do you stand out?
Innovation is a specific skills that more and more is being required by companies. So it will be a good way to stand out from the competition, especially if you want to find a good job.
More than 400 companies and thousands of professionals and students have been trained and certified through the Global Innovation Management Institute and are applying their innovation knowledge to capture bigger and faster results. Get certified today to take the next leap in your career. Global Innovation Management Institute. Better ideas, bigger results.
Well, and as we always said, No, together we can and we will. So thank you so much, HP, Lucia, Alba, and I look forward, to working with Lucia together in Peru, in Ecuador, to expand, GIMI and innovation management as a practice and standardize, all these framework that we have learned and share actually not only with the public but with the private sectors and of course all universities in Peru and Ecuador. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Bye bye, everybody.
See ya. Bye.